All right, here is my video on the cadences that I have created and used. I won't get too much into it, but I spent a lot of time looking up different data points from things like Gong, which tracks effectiveness of sales outreach. You can Google it if you want. They're basically a company that does a lot of analytics around the most effective ways to do sales. And they record videos and record phone calls, etc. And so I use that along with other marketing research to basically compile what I think is a near perfect combination of cadence steps um, in order to reach my targets. And so, yeah, I'll go through that here. And you guys can take these cadences. You can adjust them if you want. I personally recommend using all the ones that I've created um, for your own pipeline generation, but obviously feel free to do what works best for you. So I'll start off with the first, or I'll just give an overview first, I guess. So I have a high value target and inbound cadence. I have what I call a low value target cadence, and then a spray and pray cadence, which is like very low personalization and very efficient. Um, you know, the high value target has 12 touch points, low value target has 8, and then the spray and pray has like 6 to 8. And then the other thing I've done is just kind of show you guys the follow-up cadences that I've created, which is also um, been a massive factor in my success in terms of keeping people on the books and getting meetings back. Um, as they say, fortune is in the follow-up, and I have found that to be the case, especially as an SDR where you're often um, tracked on meetings. Okay, so high value target slash inbound cadence. I reserve this cadence for folks that are, again, remember how if you watch my previous videos, high value target I define as somebody who is basically a decision maker or highly influential to the decision maker. And so day one, I send an email, LinkedIn request. The next day, I do a call with a voicemail. And then here, you can reference the email. Some people are anti-voicemail. It's kind of hit or miss. This is just kind of nice to put a voice to the name, so to speak. And the nice thing about sending an email first is you basically can put your talk track in your email, and that way you can have a lot of confidence when you're cold calling the person for why you're reaching out to them. With the context, you basically spend a lot of time personalizing in the email. So this is going to be a personalized email. Day 4, call with no voicemail. Day 5, send a second email. Side note, I actually have future videos on the type of content I put inside of these emails. So watch those as well, but this is wanted to give you a flow. So this would be more of a follow-up email, like, hey, have you seen my previous note? Here you do another call with a LinkedIn DM or InMail if they have not accepted your connection request. A third email, followed by a call, followed by a LinkedIn message if they're connected, ignore if not, and then lastly a call, and then kind of like a last final email. What was I going to say? Oh, you notice that for a lot of these, they're more call heavy. I have just found that it's easier to get a meeting on a call because it's a lot easier to ignore an email than to tell someone no on the phone who's, calling for a good, strong reason. So I always prioritize calls. You can do whatever works best for you, but obviously I have email and LinkedIn as well, but I just highly recommend cold calls as they're just a really good way to nail down times and you don't have to go back and forth over email, etc. So anyways, 12 touch points, quite a lot, but a lot of the data suggests that's kind of on the lower end of often what people need in order to engage with a seller. Okay, on to my low value target cadence. Again, I define low value target as folks who are 2, 3, 4 steps removed from the decision maker, folks who are not gonna be able to, um, have massive sway in your deals, but they might give you a lot of helpful information, and they might have some stake in whatever you're trying to sell. Uh, obviously there's less touch points, and that just makes sense, right? Because you don't want to spend a bunch of time putting okay targets into cadences. You want to reserve, your time is valuable as a seller. Your 40 hours a week are very important. And so you want to make sure that that's being used effectively. Your time is being used effectively. So day 1, email plus LinkedIn request. Day 2, call with voicemail. Again, you kind of reference that email. You did all the hard work when you constructed the email. Again, future videos on read the videos right after in this course. Watch the videos right after in this course to kind of see what I put in my content of my calls, my LinkedIn email or my LinkedIn messages, and my emails. Call with no voicemail, day 4, email number 2, day 7, or sorry, day 5 is email number 2, day 7, call plus LinkedIn message if connected, and then a day 9, email number 3. I don't really do in mails for low value targets because it just has such a low reply rate. Okay, and then that's about 8 touch points. I think I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. Okay, and then what I call spray and pray. These are like even lower than low value targets. These are like, hey, I want to put hundreds of people in a cadence. I'm trying to blast things out. Where you basically do. I like to just do 3 emails in a row because if someone replies to the email, then you don't have to spend any time calling them. And boom, you just basically these are usually for me it's usually automated or mostly automated emails where I just have to look through it and hit send. Email 1, and then a few days later email 2, a few days later email 3. Then on day 8, if they did connect with me, I'll shoot them a LinkedIn note. If not, whatever. And then day 9, I'll give them a ring. And at this point, I usually do like an optional step where I'm just like, based on their LinkedIn profile or SalesLoft profile or whatever you're using, like, do you feel like, hey, I would be excited still to try to talk to this person? If not, then just like pull them out of the cadence and be done. Or if you're like, you know what, I want to give this person 2 more shots, that's where I do day 11 and 13 is optional. Again, your time is valuable. You want to make sure that you're not keeping unimportant people in long cadences. For high value targets or people who can move the needle, even though they're unlikely to respond by these steps, I've had it happen before, and I think it's worth it. It's worth your time just because these guys are so like, if they truly are a high value target, then getting them on the line or getting them on a Zoom call could be massive for your career. Okay. As a side note, it only takes 1 call to turn your entire quarter or year around, because that 1 call can be worth a lot of money or cascade into many other important calls. Okay. I wrote some notes down. This is something I like to do. I like to send them in the morning or evening on Tuesday through Thursday, ideally. So I've used SalesLoft and Outreach as sales tools. I don't know what you're using if you're watching this, but if possible, I like to time these in the morning or evening, Tuesday through Thursday, because that's what all the marketing research shows is the highest likelihood to open emails. And then also for email marketing, follow-up emails be between 3 and 4 days apart, which you'll see is implemented in these emails. Day 1, that's 4 days apart from email 1 to email 2, 4 days apart, 2 to 3. So, right, I try to be very calculated with everything. There's a rhyme and reason to everything I did here. Okay, and then follow-up cadences. This is important. If I make contact with someone, and I haven't locked in a meeting, maybe they say, hey, call me back at this time, and they usually won't answer, but like, you have the right phone number. Or they said they would show up to a meeting and then don't. Whatever channel you engage with them in, put them into a follow-up cadence within that channel. So like if someone via email agrees to meet with me, I'm usually not going to try to call them to meet with me. If they agree to via email, I know they have my email. I'm going to keep hitting them on email. Maybe I'll call them, but like they're probably dodging your email. They're probably not going to say yes on the phone. So the point being, like a lot of times people are just forgetful, and so having follow-up reminders, automated follow-up reminders for yourself to reach back out to that person in the same channel that they reach out to you with, great. And then I do about 4 calls for my follow-up call cadence, just because they may not recognize your number, or they might forget, or they might be busy. And you can throw a text in there if you want to as well. But you need a higher number of touch points I found in calls when trying to get back out to people. Emails, I do 3 because if after 3 emails they still haven't replied, you're probably getting ghosted. Sometimes even after 2, but I still like 3 just in case. And LinkedIn, I think that's even more like obvious that you're being ghosted because their literal face pops up and says that they read the note. So I don't usually send more than 2 LinkedIn follow-ups. Again, this situation covers situation where I'm on LinkedIn, someone says, yes, let's meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. You say, great, I'll send the note out, Zoom link out. You send the Zoom link out. They don't accept. It's 9 a.m. They don't show up to the Zoom call either that day or maybe the Monday. I'd create a task or I'd put them into this LinkedIn Cadence. And then that Monday, the next Monday, I would send them a LinkedIn note. And then maybe a few days later or 3 days later, send them another one saying like, hey, checking in, whatever you want to use. Um, and so that's kind of what these are for. I found these really helpful. Do not overlook these. If you don't use this Cadence, make sure you have some sort of system to keep track of the people who you spoke with but haven't been able to lock down yet, or people who ghosted you. Okay. Oh yeah, I said this already. You may not have your number saved, so you need higher touch points with calls, and then yeah, less touch points with the LinkedIn and email. So hope that's helpful. There are some nuances to this, but I usually keep it pretty simple for all my accounts, and yeah, hope you find similar success as you read these.
Do you want to become an account executive faster? Check out my school community. You'll get weekly live trainings, Q&A sessions, downloadable resources, accountability to stay on track, and access to a network of SDRs, account executives, and myself for personalized guidance. Go ahead and click the link in the description below to join now and accelerate your career.